Welcome back, folks. Mark here, Dezaras Prime, back with another Titans Return review, and we are looking today at possibly the weakest of the four warriors that come from the sky, those being Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Highbrow, and Brainstorm. Today we're looking at Highbrow. I nearly forgot his name then, and they said Hardhead. He is the weakest of the four, but is he bad? Let's find out. I say he's the weakest because, for a start, massive gappage in the calves there, which there's nothing closing that off. So, yeah, it's not very pretty round the back. He's got the big ass fucking chopper kibble there. But the main problem with Highbrow is his head. It's really wobbly if you don't get it right. Now, it's not Scourge levels of bad, because Scourge is really bad. But if you look, I mean, it's holding in place pretty nicely now, but you can see it's at a slant. The way I've had to do it is I've had to, because I mentioned before, sometimes you need to turn the head around to make it fit properly. I've had to turn this at a 45-degree angle instead of a 90-degree. No, I've turned it at a 90-degree instead of a 180, just to hold it in place. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with the port on this. I don't think it's the head, the small head itself, because it seems pretty standard. I think there's just it's a defective port, that it isn't holding together as tightly. But if we look at Xort, that's his Titan Master, we've got it so the faces line up. You can't see it very well, but yeah, so basically his head is turned around, so it's facing his back. And then if you put it in, it's really loose, like pretty damn loose. It doesn't hold in as well either. It's not so much wobbly head syndrome like bobble dog syndrome, bobblehead or anything. It pops out really easily, which, you know, for some of them it can be seen as a good thing, because for some of them they are really hard to get out, so it's good that it comes out easily. But there's also a bit of a rise on the, if you notice, the neck port it's more, pops out of the shoulders a bit more than the rest of them do. But yeah, it just pops out really easily. Let's turn his head around, Xort's head, so it would be aligned with the rest of his body in a non-exorcist way, and see how it fits now. And yeah, look at that. That's awful. That is so bad. It's like Mrs. Gibney, my old teacher at school. She used to nod when she laughed. She'd be like, hee. That's the only time you're getting that. I regretted that immediately. So yeah, when Xort's head is faced properly, the right way around, it nods like a Gibney. Turn it 180, it's okay, but what I tend to do is turn it at a 45-degree angle, and that tends to lock the head in place a bit better, and it prevents Gibney head. So that's how I deal with the hard head issue. I'm not doing hard head, I'm doing highbrow. Too many H's. But yeah, that's a problem. But there are ways to mitigate that problem. So it's not like Scourge, where he's always like fucking D'Lo Brown, the wrestler, not my brother DJ, my DJ brother even. So yeah, there are ways to mitigate it and make it bearable. I don't know if everybody has the same defective highbrow. I might have to watch some reviews of Titans Return Highbrow and see if anybody else has that issue. But yeah, that's what makes him the weakest of the four and those empty calves. Because everybody else has more stable heads. It's that simple. But having said that, is still a really good figure. You know, QC issues aside, he has some great sculpting and some great proportioning. I mean, to check out the detail on the chest there, and you know, we've got great focus there. I mean, the head sculpt is fantastic. The visor and the down the sides of the helmet and the mouth, it's just a wonderful head sculpt. And then the detailing on the chest, I mean, just look at some of that. It's fucking gorgeous. And then the abdomen, it looks great. There's just a few QC issues that make it a bit of a problem sometimes. The arms and the shoulders, fucking gorgeous again. That lovely little splash of yellow and a line of red. And then the blue up top. Is that blue? It's like greyish blue, isn't it? It's not the same blue as his chest. Let's check his guns out. I'll quickly show you the guns before we go over the rest of him, because I tend to forget weapons because I'm not used to doing weapons. It's a gun that holds. It can hold a Titan Master, but if I can get this right. It's the two guns that go together to form the thing that will hold the Titan Master. Just like that, snap it together. And I believe the Titan Master, it's right niche then. He doesn't go in properly. Let's I haven't got a Titan Master at hand unless I use Xort, which should be easy enough to take out. And then the Titan Master will just sit, if you stand him, and then he kind of sits like he's sitting on a chair. Bring his arms out. And he'll sit like that in there. It's not like every fucking Titan Master's gonna just sit flat in an L in there, but yeah, you can see his head looking that way. He's got a painted visor. He's got some good detail on him. We'll try and get a proper look at him in a sec. I really should have a spare Titan Master at hand, ready for these little examples with the guns. But yeah, back to the detail, the sculpting on this figure. And forearms are very nice. Hollow on the inside for where the wrists go, but that's pretty standard, isn't it? Some nice, brilliant detailing on the side of the forearms and on the underside. There's a really well sculpted figure with the waist as well. Look, check out the waist. The blue around the back that spreads around to the sides, and the crotch plate with the white, with the like the bars going across. Some great detail in this. I mean, it's like almost like Combiner Wars Hound level of detail. I mean, check out the knee pads. Nice grey knee pads, and a bit of red down the side there with those like ridges. And then the fake like propeller things on the sides there. And detail on the feet as well. And it really is wonderfully sculpted. I mean, even around the back of the legs, the back of the thighs, hamstring area, you know, usually they don't get a lot of love, a lot of detail, do they? But yeah, they've done a good job with those. And it even has the little fake opening chest that only opens partially for the speed, strength, intelligence part. Try and get it to open up now. Yeah, it only opens that far, but you know, it's a nice little touch. But yeah, so it's the worst of the bunch. But is it a bad figure? Absolutely not. It's a great figure. I fucking like it a lot. Like I said, I've got a fix for the head to hold it in place nicely. But that issue still remains, and it is, yeah, it's there, but I can live with it. If it was like a fucking shit to like, we'll get to Skull Smasher and Croc later, and I've only got them because, well, no, Skull Smasher was the first one I got, but I kind of bought Croc hoping it'd be of better quality, they'd like fix the issues. They didn't, but you know, Highbrow is still a really good figure. I do really like it. I mean, the sculpting and the detail in this guy is immense. I'd argue that he's probably, yeah, even Chrome Dome's got pretty much. See, Chrome Dome's got a lot of detail as well. Hardhead also, he's more detailed than Hardhead, but is he more detailed than Brainstorm? But Brainstorm's like, he is more of a like smoother, streamlined figure and character. So yeah, they definitely haven't scrimped on the fucking detail. It's just the neck port where the headmaster goes in. It's just a bit off, and you've got to get it right to fucking, yeah, make sure it holds in position. Points of articulation, I'm not going to do the head thing. His head does go all the way around. His arms can go up to his head. They go all the way around, but you've got to be careful because of his rotor blades. Those are a bastard because they give the illusion that they can split down, but they don't. He's got joint at the elbow as opposed to the upper bicep swivel, because there's no room for an upper bicep swivel really. Elbow bends. He's a very tight figure. Maybe a little too tight, possibly. And I mean, the tightness is almost hypocritical considering the head. Everything else is tight, yet they get the neck port is completely fucking loose. You know, balance it out. No wrist swivel, but it's got that wrist action for transformation. yeah, maybe fucking balance it out a little bit. Loosen the rest of the joints just a smidge and tighten the neck port a little bit more than just a smidge. Legs go out. There you go. Forward, you've got your thigh swivel. Bend at the knee, which you can, I guess he can do like more of a, he can bring his leg back further because he has no calves. No foot swivel or foot action at all. It's completely molded except for the heels. But yeah. So yeah, robot mode's great if you can deal with the head. And you know, because I've dealt with the head. I'm just throwing it out there as a warning. I mean, this figure's a couple of years old now. You probably know that already. So it's definitely one of those things where, you know, be wary. Other than that, it's a cracking toy. That's interesting. That is interesting. So I just noticed something. No, they don't split apart, do they? I'm going to try and show you this. You see that? The gaps. Those detailing in the shins. There's gappage there. So if you look closely, you can see behind. Not just between his legs, but this line down here, there's a gap. I'm sure you can see it. So you can see my face through it, can't you? There, look. That's really interesting. Yeah, might create problems for me later when I'm doing Transformers the soap and I need to cut Highbrow out, like his image, give it an alpha background. I don't want there being fucking transparency like behind him and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm pre-planning some Transformers the soap stuff. You could call it the pre-production stage. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that when I'm ready to deal with it. But yeah, all in all, cracking figure if you can deal with the head thing, and you know, there is a solution. Let's get him to his helicopter mode, shall we? Yeah, so I forgot to have a decent look at Xort. He's a bit weak at the waist, a bit loose. But we'll try and get a decent, there we go. Almost straight away. Not a lot to him. Blue, legs, lower legs and arms. White torso. Nice head sculpt with a painted visor there, look. That's decent enough. But yeah, you do need to turn that head to look left or right to make sure he fits in with Highbrow properly without wobbling about all over the place. Yeah, anyway, that's Xort. Let's take a look at his attack chopper kind of thing. Let's put him in the cockpit there. Close that up. And there he is. I think that's the right way with the guns for the landing gear, because it's got the like faux wheels on the two parts of the guns, and if you put it down it sits flush. It does on a flat surface. My hand isn't a flat surface, but it supports it nicely. But the thing is with these is that isn't around, that's a hexagonal port on either side. As you can see, hexagonal ports on either side, but they are not. They're really weird square ones. They fit in, it's just a bit of a bastard to take out. A lot of the stock photos I've seen have, because you've got the round ports on the edge and then round ports here. So I've seen a lot of images where they're like that, which is fair enough, I guess. Although they do hang a little bit, and they don't do like it still supports it. But then you've got the wheels on the inside. You've got flip out landing gear there that you just fold up. Take the guns out and get a good look at his weird VTOL type thing. It looks like a VTOL plane. Again, all that detail, that sculpting really brings this out, brings it to life a little bit. It is, I mean, the fists fold away. It's definite arm evidence there, I'd guess. They go nicely enough, but they tend to clash a little bit. So you might want to, I don't know the best way to do it. They do tend to clash a little bit, those propellers. I was doing that all to myself then, wasn't I? I'm not showing you. See, they knock each other. So yeah, the arms are, you can see it, and on the underside you can see the waist, but there's like a really nifty transformation where you pull his waist down and then fold the legs up, and then it's quite clever actually. I like that part, and it kind of explains why there's no calves, because there's nowhere to put those parts once you put the legs in position. But yeah, it does kind of underneath it, you can see robot kibble, I guess. But from the top, from the side, from the front, I mean, check out that gorgeous fucking translucent red cockpit. I mean, that is beautiful. There's it's a successful figure. I like it a lot. Vehicle mode's great. It's no more offensive than any other vehicle mode, air vehicle mode. I'll say offensive, and people do get offended these days easily, don't they? It's no worse than any other vehicle, air vehicle mode. The robot mode's decent apart from the head issue, which I'm going to stop harping on about. But the colours on that are just great. It fucking, the red and the blue and the grey and the little touches of gunmetal that are still there. It just, and the detailing. I mean, it's not just detail for the sake of detail. I mean obviously not that. But, you know, every piece of detail has a purpose, like that bit there that you don't really see in the robot mode because the cockpit's stuck on his back. It's beautiful. There's a lot of great detail. I wouldn't have minded to see the gun, maybe done in the gunmetal. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, all in all, I like this figure. This is going to be like where I wrap it up now, because, again, like Galvatron, I believe this is the only time he was used. I might be wrong. I believe Hasbro-wise, it was the only time it was used. It might have been reissued retooled for Takara, for a character somewhere. I don't know. But, yeah, there's no comparison, because I've got no one to compare him to. So all in all, still a great figure. I'm still glad I got him. He was the, I picked Highbrow up, and then I was like, it was Highbrow, and then I realised I only need Brainstorm. But before I picked up Highbrow, I was over Brainstorm because he wasn't available at mass retail over here. He was like a chemist exclusive in America, like Walgreens or some shit. And then there were the convention ones, and there was the Takara one. But when I picked this guy up, I realised, well, and I got Weird Wolf at the same time as well, or Wolfwire. And I was like, well, I'm only one missing from each team. I only need Brainstorm and Mindwipe, so I went and bought them Takara versions from Kapow. And I incidentally now have all 3 versions of Brainstorm. So, 5 versions of that mould if you count Blur and Nautica. He's like the Prowl of Titans, or even the fucking dead end of Titans Return. Because that mould just pops up everywhere. But it's a good mould to use. It's a great mould. But we'll get to Brainstorm eventually. I'm going to stop going off on one. But yeah, Highbrow's good as well. He, you know, I've mentioned the issues. One more recap. His head's loose if you don't turn it to a 90 degree angle. Xort's head, have it looking directly that way or that way, and then plug it in and it'll stay a lot better. Have it facing like this way, face chest, then he'll be all over the place like fucking Mrs. Gibney. Turn his head 180 like Exorcist, holds a little bit better, but it still pops out really easily. It just doesn't do the wobbling. So yeah, go for a 90 degree angle with the head, and you're on your way. And obviously the calves, there's no calves, but it kind of makes sense when you get to this mode. But yeah, it's a beautiful figure once you look closely at it. All the sculpted detail and everything, it really is. And yeah, so he is the weakest, but he is not by any means a bad figure. When I say weakest, I mean weakest of Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Highbrow, Brainstorm. The Warriors from the Sky, the 4 bastards. Those 4. Because there are deluxes worse than him. There's a deluxe worse than him that I could think of off the top of my head. But yeah, we'll get to him. But yeah, anyway, I'll stop talking shit now. I'll wrap it up there. I've been Mike, Dezaras Prime. He's been Highbrow and Xort. And you shall see me next time.